Wow, welcome back to yet another episode of Bezos Chibozi. This happens to be episode 90, and I'm very happy because reaching 90 episodes with this podcast is something good. The podcast started out as something that was supposed to help me maybe learn how to speak, learn how to have one thought moving forward for at least 7 minutes, speaking about one thing. But then I realized it helped me with other things, opening up, exploring a few things, exploring a few ideas in my mind. And I can say that it has been a very great journey. I'm not saying this as if I am going. I'm still around for quite some time. I see myself doing this even 10 years to come. But the reason that's why I said episode 90 is because there's something coming soon. But anyway, for those that have known me for a long time, or anyone that has known me for some time, you must know that at one point I was interested in comedy, or I was interested in being the light of the room, being someone that brought some happiness to people. And I really tried to find a way in which I can bring that fun part into my podcast, given that it was a podcast on self-improvement, a podcast on becoming who you want to be, a podcast on becoming better in whatever you're doing in your life. But I didn't really get that right ingredient to put it in, because somehow I also was insecure on how best I would pop up with the fun side. But it happens that this episode is about comedy. I did comedy, I think, in COVID, when I had a lot of time on me. I did some skits here and there. I really had a dream to be a comedian. That dream still stands because the line of work that I'm doing requires me to speak. And the more I speak, the more I punch in here and there a good joke to keep people laughing. And you never know, maybe to take it on as a full job or as something to change this life, to change people's minds, to build them into a better community. But anyway, today's episode is about comedy. Comedy, to me, is just a fun way of being serious. It's just I could call it more like its court, the court of seriousness, in some way can be comedy. Someone can come and say something jokingly, but when they're actually serious. You know, some of the honest things that I've seen in my life, or the most honest conversations I've had, are conversations that started off as a funny joke, or something that sparked to me or was given to me as a joke. Turns out maybe somewhere, somehow, I could have taken it seriously, or it could have made some serious sense in my mind. And why? It's because, to me, people can laugh, but deep down they know, yes, it's just a joke. But conversations that we want to avoid, maybe conversations about money, conversations about relationships, conversations about failure, or the insecurities we have, we can say them in a format of a joke. So that's why I'm saying that comedy is just a fun way of being serious. And it's not because we don't see the truth, but it's because the truth is a little bit heavy or a little bit uncomfortable for us to bring out plainly. You see, we usually think that comedy is for entertainment. Maybe it's to light up the room, maybe it is, there's nothing serious. But to me, It is a delivery system. It is a way that people get to speak about things that they are not comfortable about. Because if you're not comfortable about something, but you bring it up as a joke, your mind retunes it as you're not serious about it. And so it can slip through. But if you bring out something seriously, then people are going to try to defend themselves. That is also on how you negotiate with life, how you go through different conversations with people. If you don't want to bring on something in a way that someone will have to defend themselves, you can bring it on as a joke. Bring it off as a joke, and then maybe say, probably I'm also serious about this. But they will know that you've marinated it, you've sandwiched it, you've brought the joke in between. The hard is in between, then another joke at the end, so that the thing can slip through. It is also not about you communicating and you're not clear. You need to communicate and be clear. But jokes are the only way we can speak something that is serious to people and they don't take it personal. To me, the comedy is not the opposite side of being serious. It is just a softer way of expressing it. If you laugh about something, you express it in a softer way. That's why you can find that comedians say the most absurd things, but people can go away with them because they know this guy was making a joke, this guy was making a living. A comedian can call you fat and you laugh about it. When you're actually fat, the truth is that you're fat. So it is about your mind to retune it and be like, actually I'm fat. Maybe I need to do something about this so that I'm not a point of this joke anymore. But that's not the case for this episode. The case for this episode is that you should know that when someone jokes about something, there's some truth to it. Because what makes a joke funny, as far as I've seen, whatever makes a joke funny is because of the truth behind it. If someone came to me and told me you're fat, me Andrew told me you're fat, that would not be a joke. It will be sort of an insult. Because it's not true, I'm not fat. I'm one of the skinniest guys you'll ever find. But if he says you have a big head, or you have ugly beards, or you have this, if any of that is true, then it will be funny. If they say it in a funny way. Because we all know how something funny sounds. But the concept of a joke, to make it funny, it has to be true. And it being true means that it's just a better way of saying something serious. Just a better approach of saying it. Now, because we misunderstand where to find truth, we most times look for formal advice, for what? Look for serious guys to tell us what to do in life. Sometimes those very funny guys are the ones who are going to tell you what to do in life. Because they are going to say it, first of all, in a way that won't offend you, but will give you insight on what can help you in your journey. I'm not saying that look for people who are going to say what you want to hear, but look for people who have the right sense of humor to bring out the truth and tell it to you, and you change without feeling offended. You know, the best place to get advice, to me, would be in those casual conversations, those points of sarcasm, those points of jokes and what. Because when someone is being sarcastic, at some point they're telling a given portion of truth on something that you need to change. In a deeper level, comedy actually just shows you what someone is thinking deeply. When someone is actually thinking about something, they will find a way of making a joke about it. That's why you find people who don't want to pull off as though they were flirting, they'll say they were joking about it. Yet they actually liked the girl. So, to me, bottom line, comedy is not just a way of just laughing and what. To me, it's a way of being serious. It's you seasoning your words to be serious. Anyway, I hope there's something you picked out of this episode. And be careful what kind of jokes that cross by your ear. Maybe sometimes they're true. Maybe someone is being serious, but just being humorous, if that is even a word. Otherwise, thank you for listening. Keep it at Bezos Theology. See you for the next episode.